income?
No.
No?
Well, I mean, naturally, yes.
Very convenient, Mr. Vole. How is it that you never took your wife to see Miss French?
I don't know. Suppose it just didn't crop up.
You say Miss French knew you were married?
Yes.
And yet she never insisted that you bring your wife to the house?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. She didn't like women, I don't think.
She liked, shall we say, personable young men, and you didn't insist on bringing your wife?
Of course I didn't. See, she knew my wife was a foreigner, and I don't know, she seemed to think we didn't get along.
That was the impression you gave her?
No, I didn't. It was wishful thinking on her part.
You mean she was infatuated
Not
with you?
infatuated. It's like mothers are sometimes with a son.
How?
They don't want him to like a girl or to get engaged or anything of that kind.
You hoped, didn't you, for some kind of monetary advantage from your friendship with Miss French?
Not in the way you mean.
Not in the way I mean. You seem to know better than I know myself what I mean. I ask you again, Mr. Vole, in what way did you hope for monetary advantage? I repeat, in what way did you hope for monetary advantage?
Well, you see, there's a thing I've invented. It's a kind of windscreen wiper that works in snow. I was looking for someone to finance that, and I thought perhaps Miss French would. But that wasn't the only reason I went to see her. I tell you, I liked her.
We have heard that quite often, haven't we? How much you liked her.
Well, it's true.
I submit that about a week before Miss French's death, you are in a particular travel agency inquiring on particulars of foreign cruises.
Supposing I did, it isn't a crime, is it?
No, not at all. Many people go for cruises when they can pay for it, but you couldn't pay for it, could you, Mr. Vole?
I was hard up. I've told you so.
And yet you came into this particular travel agency with a blonde, a strawberry blonde, about.
A strawberry blonde, Mr. Myers?
A term for a woman with fair reddish hair, my lord.
I thought I knew all about blondes. But a strawberry blonde? Go on, Mr. Myers.
Well?
Well, my wife isn't a strawberry blonde, and it was just a bit of fun anyway.
You admit that you came into this particular travel agency inquiring not on particulars of the cheap trips, but of the most expensive and luxurious cruises. How did you expect to pay for such a thing?
I didn't.
I suggest that you knew that in a week's time Miss French would be murdered, leaving you her heir only a few days later.
I knew nothing of the kind. I was feeling a bit fed up. And there were the posters in the window. Palm trees, coconuts, and blue seas. And I went in and asked. The clerk gave me a real condescending look. I was a bit shabby, but it riled me. So I put on a bit of an act and started asking for the swankiest tours and cabin on the boat deck.
You really expect the jury to believe that?
I don't expect anyone to believe anything, but that's the way it was. It was make-believe and childish, if you like, but it was fun, and I enjoyed it. I wasn't thinking of killing anybody or of inheriting money.
Your story is that on the evening of the 14th of October, you left Miss French's house and that you returned home at 9:20 past 9 and that you did not go out again?
Yes.
We have heard the evidence of Romaine Hager, the woman passing as your wife. She rebukes that story in court. She says that you came home not at 5:20 past 10, but at 10 minutes past 10.
It's not true.
And that you had blood on your clothes.
It's not true. Not one word of that is true.
Can you give any reason why the evidence that she has given is anything but true?
No, I can't. That's the awful thing. There's no reason. I think she must have gone mad.
She must have gone mad. She seemed very sane and self-possessed to me, but insanity is the only reason you can suggest.
I don't understand what's happened. What's changed her?
Very effective, I'm sure, Mr. Vole. But in this court, we deal with the facts. And the fact is that we only have your word for it that you came home at the time you say you did from Miss French's house, and that you did not go out gay.
Someone must have seen me in the street or going into the house.
One would think so, but the only person who did see you come home that night says that you came home at 10 minutes past 10, and that person says you had blood on your clothes.
I cut my wrist.
A very easy thing to do should any questions arise.
You twist everything. You twist everything I say. You make me sound like a different kind of person from what I am.
You cut your wrists deliberately.
No, I didn't. I didn't do anything, but you make it all sound as though I did. I can hear it myself.
You came home at 10 minutes past 10.
No, I didn't. You've got to believe me. You've got to believe me.
You killed Emily Frank!
No, I didn't. I didn't kill her. I've never killed anybody. It's some nightmare. It's some awful evil dream.
You know, we come out of a stuffy courtroom. Is there no justice? And we gasp for fresh air, and what do we find? Fog.
It's not as thick as a fog ran over Mrs. Heilger's antics.
That damned woman. From the very first moment I laid eyes on her, I scented trouble. I knew she was up to something. A thoroughly vindictive piece of goods, and much too deep for that young fool in the witness box. What's a game, John? What's she up to? Tell me that.
Presumably it would seem to get young Leonard Bowl convicted of murder.
But why? Look what he's done for her.
He's probably done too much for her.
And she despises him for it. Now that's likely enough. Oh, thoroughly vindictive beast, women. But why would she be vindictive? I mean, all she had to do was walk away if she was bored with him, and there seemed to be no financial reason for her to remain.
I brought you your tea, Sir Wilfrid, and a cup for you too, Mr. Mayhew.
Tea? Strong drink is what we need.
Oh, you know you like your tea, really, sir. How did it go today?
Badly.
Oh, sir, I do hope not, because he didn't do it. I'm sure he didn't do it.
You're still sure he didn't do it? Now, why is that?
Because he's nice, if you know what I mean. Ever so nice. He's not the kind that would go coshing an old lady in the head. But, sir, you'll get him off, won't you?
I will get him off. God knows how. I mean, there's only one woman on the jury. You know, and women like him. I can't think why. He's not that good looking. Perhaps he's got something that arouses the maternal instinct. Women want to mother him.
Whereas Mrs. Heilger is not the maternal type.
Oh no, she's the passionate sort. The hot-blooded behind that cool self-control. The kind that would knife a man if you double-crossed her. Oh God, how I'd like to break her down. Show up her lies. Show her up for what she really is.
Forgive me, Fred, but letting this case become a personal duel between you and her.
Am I? Well, perhaps I am. She's an evil woman, John. I am convinced of that. And a young man's life depends upon the outcome of this duel.
I don't think the jury would.
No, you're right about that, John. I don't think they did. To begin with, she's a foreigner, and they distrust foreigners. And then she's not married to the fellow. She's more or less admitting committing bigamy. And none of that goes down well. And in the end of it all, I mean, she's not sticking to a man when he's down, and we don't like that in this country.
But that's all to the good.
Yes, but it isn't enough. There's no corroboration of his statements whatsoever. He admits being there that night. His fingerprints are all over the place. We haven't managed to find anybody that saw him returning home. And then there's that altogether damning matter of the will. And that's travel agency business didn't help either. I mean, the woman makes a will in his favor, and immediately he goes inquiring about luxury cruises. I mean, it couldn't be more unfortunate.
You know, I agree. And his explanation was hardly convincing.
Yet, you know, John, my wife does that. Calls travel agencies and to get them to make out itineraries for extensive foreign tours, including myself. I mean, she will plan it all out to the last detail and bemoan the fact that boat misses a connection in Bermuda. Oh, she'll say to me, oh, we could save so much time by flying, but we wouldn't see anything of the country. What do you think? Well, I said, well, look, it's all the same to me, my